accounting degree from Virginia Commonwealth University. She has over 30 years of experience. I think she started when she was 9 in the financial industry. 20 years as a financial advisor. She's worked with Edward Jones for over 12 years, concentrating on helping people like Paula, me, you, helping families to achieve their financial goals. And for us, we're very pleased. Thank you. She has 2 office managers that work with her, so you can call almost any time. And I'm going to tell you right now, if I don't talk to Pat, I talk to Sue, and I love to talk to Sue. So those are the 2 favorites in that office. And Sue pretty much knows that when I want to come see Pat, she'll arrange it. And she tries to be there, don't you, Sue? Don't you try to be there? Yeah, see, she says yes. I think she was saying yes, but she's shaking her head the other way. She volunteers at her church. I know she sings at her church. She's a treasurer of the church. She is the president of our community association. She likes mountain hiking, cycling. I didn't know about the kayaking, but I know this, she sings. And I offered to do a duet with her today, but she says she can't sing when she makes a presentation like this. I think that's a shame, missing out on that. I think we would have done well together. Honestly, we looked a long time before we actually found someone that we trusted. And we do trust Pat. And I don't know if personal testimonials mean much, but they certainly do. When someone's talking to me and telling me they like this mover, they like this person to work on their car, that they've had good experience, I can say that with Pat. And it's why when we were seeking someone to come to St. Mark's to talk, that we've looked around and our first thought and last thought is that if Pat would come, we wanted her to come and talk to us because we knew that we would be getting someone trustworthy, someone giving us honest advice, and someone who knew what they were talking about. Pat does. So please, if you would, help me welcome Pat Rock to St. Mark's.
Thank you, Phil. I appreciate that introduction. That was very nice. Couple of things. When you hear that 30 years experience, you know, it makes you, and then you hear kayaking, it just doesn't seem to go together, but actually, there's flat water kayaking, and that's me. I'm not in the rapids or anything like that. I've done it before, but no more. I take care of my clients, be around, I don't want to hit a rock or anything. But thank you so much for having me. I appreciate y'all coming out. When it started snowing yesterday, I thought, uh-oh, we're going to have her talk today, and then it looked like rain, and so I appreciate y'all coming out on a rainy Sunday. I'm jealous this building is, you're not supposed to be jealous of church, are you? But I love this building. My church is in Rockville, Virginia, which is, just a little ways out west, 64. And yeah, I'm singing the choir out there, so he'll probably come and sing with me a duet or something. But the reason I came is to talk about planning, financial planning, retirement goals, and that type of thing today. And Phil gave me this long laundry list, and so I'm going to try to give you this overview to make it more meaningful. I don't want to get too broad or in too much detail, but if you want more detail, we can always get together and talk more about your particular situation. Retirement planning goes from starting to save at the right time, and then planning through that saving what's the right investments you want to do, and then the distribution phase. So when I manage money along with advising people, and I think about that and I think, well, I don't want to endanger people's money, and yet We can't all be in money market or CDs, can we? Oh, it's time to retire, I have to take my money out of the market, and then you've got so many years to retire, in retirement, that you can get in trouble and run out of money. So I like to plan my portfolios, I'm gonna call them a portfolio for life. So I do like to help people and plan their retirement and help them with their goals. So I have a love for that. So that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm in this business. And Phil's pretty much introduced Sue, but I couldn't do it without Sue, and I have another support staff at the office. Her name's Mary Ann, and so when you call, you get one of us three. And but I do the financial advising. Sue pretty much runs the office, sets my appointments. So if you want to make an appointment, you can talk with Sue. So what are your goals for retirement? Everybody's different. Some people want to retire early so that they can volunteer, maybe have a second career. Some people want to travel. Some people just want to not work anymore, period. I have people in their 50s, they want to retire so badly, but they're not quite ready. But they, 50s, if you don't love what you do, then sometimes that's when people kind of get sick of their job, and that's when they want to do that. So I'm going to talk today about why we need to save, why we need to start now, sooner than later, and ways to save. So I gave you this slide presentation, and you can follow this if you want. That's okay, Phil. I'll just pick it up if I need it. It's a golf drop and a rubber band. I don't need it right now. This is the slideshow presentation. So you can follow this if you like or not. I will point you to, I'm not going to say on slide 1, 2, 3, but you can follow it if you like. But when we come to a slide that I think is really important for you to see the picture, I'm going to tell you what slide to go through to, and every number is on the right at the bottom of the right-hand corner. That's my slide number. Okay, so we want to be prepared for retirement, right? So just to go over some stats, 33% of workers 55 and above only have about $25,000 in savings. That's a pretty bad stat, isn't it? And 54% have less than 100,000 at 55 years old. That's getting pretty close. 67% say they're going to work through retirement. And when I come across somebody that hasn't really done as good as maybe they should have at saving, they say, well, I'm just going to keep working. I'm not going to retire. Well, unfortunately, there are things that happen. And I'm sure you've all seen them, whether they've happened to you or not. Downsizing corporations, bad health, parents getting older, all kinds of things can keep you from keeping working, especially if if you don't want to keep working, why not plan for retirement? So 27%, 67%, okay, say they're going to keep working through retirement. 27% really do. So that tells you that all these unplanned things happen. The average 65-year-old spends 20 years in retirement, and about half of those spend more than 20 years in retirement. That's a long time to save money for, really, it is. 65 years old couple, they're 50%, there's a 50% chance they will go into their 90s, who reach 90 years old, and 20% the chance that they will reach 95. That's a lot of years. According to Employment Benefit Research Institute, 40% of retirees expect to outlive their savings, and they're probably the ones that only have $25,000 by the time they're 55, unless they really get busy and start saving. There is hope for people that haven't started saving yet as they get older, because there are things that happen and they weren't prepared for the unexpected. Social Security, the first thing you should probably do is go to the Social Security. Can everybody hear me, by the way? Okay, good, thanks. Thanks, Bob. He made me wear this. Social Security, that usually covers about 40% of most people's income in retirement. So you can go to the Social Security website, and everybody in this room can go in and sign up and see what your Social Security should be when you retire. It's really important that you know those numbers, and you know, honestly, they're pretty accurate. You know, they might not be on point as far as, you know, the inflation factor in there, but they're really pretty good, and they'll give you an idea of what you need. So if 40% were, if your Social Security were 40%, then you can back into the other number that you need to save for. So what are some of the things that keep us from being prepared for retirement or having enough money? Historically, inflation has been 3%. So that keeps compounding and compounding and compounding. So by the time 25 years, remember those people that are going to live into their 90s if they work to 65. Well, after 25 years in retirement, you will need twice as much money as when you went into retirement. So you really need to run a retirement proposal. We have a system at Edward Jones where you can run a proposal, put in your Social Security numbers, and it incorporates the inflation factors so that we can see if you have that money for when you get in your 90s. I always say, you know, I'm not going to live that long. That's what most of my clients say. And I say, well, you have to plan. You really do have to plan, because you might, or if you're married, one of the spouses may live that long. So, so if you need double that amount for 25 years in retirement, if you let's just say hypothetically you need $70,000 to retire after-tax money, and that will suffice you. 25 years from when you retired, you'll need $120,000. I don't know about you, that sounds like a lot of money, after-tax money to me, to need in retirement. So, planning is a good idea. One of the things, just to give you an idea of what groceries cost, there was a figure, a monthly cost of $142 a month in 1982, which is a while back. But by 2033, they're expecting those same groceries to be $1,900 a month. So it's just kind of put it in perspective. Just some insight on this. One of the reasons we need to save, and we need to invest wisely to make that money grow. So we need to save because of inflation. Let's see. Look at slide 9. This is where I'm referring to the slide things right now. If you look at 9, the table there. So this is just showing you how your money can grow. This is based on 6%. So if you start at 25, we have some people in here that are that young, right? If you start at 25 and you save monthly $200.85 a month, you end up at 65 to have $400,000. And you can see at 35 you save $398.20 a month to get the same $400,000. 45, 10 years later, it goes up. You have to save $865.72 to get to $400,000. At 55, you have to start saving $2,440.82 to get to $400,000. So there's an advantage to starting early, obviously, not just because of inflation, but because of the compounding. When you're investing, you need those dividends and interest to keep compounding in there, and that really helps us to accomplish our goals. That last figure, you know, I've seen some people that didn't start until 55, so you can accomplish that, but you really have to be dedicated and disciplined to do that. It's disciplined to start at 25 too, really, And that's what it is. It's not about how much you make. It's really about what you spend and what you save, right? It's all about, there's about to be some things we can cut out to be able to save, start saving more early. And I wanted to refer to slide 10, because I think that's another really valid chart there. This is, if you were investing $5,500 a year, which you could put in an employer plan, or you could put it in a pre-tax IRA. If you put $5,500 a year away and you start it at age 30, this gives you 5 more years to get started. Start at 25. But you can see with the compounding and reinvesting, and in this chart has 7% growth rate. So you can project to have up to $906,196. And if you wait 3 years, and then wait 3 years more, and then 3 years more, and then you're 40, you start, and 40, and then you start at 43. You can see the declining, you put the same amount of money, so the earlier you start, the better off you can be. So if you wait 10 years, it's less than half. If you start at 30, it's fine, but if you wait till 40 years old, you can have less than half of what you could have had if you started early. You can tell that from this chart. I think this is a really, really good chart. So that's what we mean by saving now as opposed to waiting. Has that convinced anybody to save now? You see what I'm talking about? So there are lots of vehicles, and they're in this plan, in this slide seminar. But if you have vehicles, you need vehicles to be able to save in and tax deferred. So what are those vehicles? How many have an employer retirement plan? Lots of people? Yeah, they are just greatest things since sliced bread. I mean, taking it out of your check before you get it is just a phenomenal way to save money. And if you can't afford to max it out when you first start, every time you get a raise, you just keep sinking more in there, and it will grow faster than you will believe. So the retirement plan for the employer, that's the best way. Then let's work back, and then the match, oh, that's freebies. If you're not getting your freebie, you know, that's like flushing money down the toilet, isn't it? So get your free money and then start building from there. I've had some people say to me, well, I don't get a match, so I'm not going to contribute. No. This reduces your pay so that you get more money. Sorry, I said it wrong. This reduces your pay so you pay less taxes. So you want to get your income down so that you pay less taxes. And if you put $100 a month away, that's not going to be a $100 hit to you. It's depending on your tax bracket, it could be a $70 hit as opposed to $100. So just keep raising that issue as you go along. So you should try to do traditional IRA or Roth. There are different income brackets, different amounts you can put in. So you could possibly make too much money to do a pre-tax IRA if you're in an employer retirement plan, or you could possibly make too much money to do a Roth. But there are other ways of saving outside of employer plan, so people can help you with that. So there's a huge benefit to pre-tax saving to get that tax advantage. One other thing you should do, and there's a risk tolerance questionnaire in the folder, in the green folder from Edward Jones that you have. You can look at that later. You can fill that out and see where you fall investment-wise. What strategy? Where are you? Are you in a higher income level? Are you in just starting out? Are you in a phase closer to retirement? And how do you feel about the market? How do you feel about losing money in the market? And I had some people in after '07, not my I coach my people not to get out of the market when we have turbulence in the market. And we fix it so that there's an investment plan for life, not all really high-risk investments. I heard some people say, I was going to retire in '07 and '08, but I couldn't. I lost all my money. That is really a bad plan they had. They had a bad strategy if they lost all their money and couldn't retire. If they were in a good strategy for their position, their life stage, for their risk tolerance, they would have stayed in the market and they could have retired if they were prepared. So I just want to say that your investment choices are really important, and an advisor can help you with that. I did the same thing before I got in this business 20 years ago. I mean, you might have done this. I looked at the performance on all the funds that were available in employee plans. I said, that one did 25%, and that one did not. I picked those two. And that's what a lot of people do. It's better than not saving at all, but it is not proper strategy for each individual. So you should get some help in picking what you invest in. So let me change gears just a minute. Phil wanted me to talk not just about the saving vehicles and why we should save now, but also what happens when you get closer to retirement or when you're in retirement. A couple of things that are really important in planning the process of retiring. You know, you can be sabotaged by just different things, losing a job, being married and losing a spouse, unexpected children are born. If you don't have emergency money to cover things like that, or insurance, then you're not protecting the unexpected. So I would say, have your insurance reviewed, your life insurance, your disability insurance, possibly long-term care insurance, all these things that could happen, that could sabotage. That's when people start saying, I'm just going to keep working. Because these things happen, and you can insure against some of these things. And if you've had a life insurance policy longer than 3 to 5 years, Edward Jones says, you know, those should be reviewed. Because after 3 to 5 years, they may not be doing what you want them to do, or maybe something's changed and you need to update them. So life does tend to get in the way sometimes. So when you're planning for retirement, you need to plan on living longer than you think. Think about inflation. And be smart about your withdrawals. As I've already said, 60%, there's a 60% chance your spouse will live to age 90. And that makes them in retirement over 25 years. And that's when you need a lot more money. So with rising cost, that's a big consideration. So when you're getting ready for retirement, try to plan so that you're not sabotaged. In retirement, the withdrawal rate that you take out is very important. The earlier you retire, the smaller your withdrawal rate should be. If you retire early, maybe it should be 3%. If you don't retire until you're in your 80s, maybe you can take out 6%. But you can't just inadvertently just take out money. You can plan for retirement. One thing that a lot of people don't do, but it's a really good idea. If you plan on retiring, put yourself on a budget and say, this is what my withdrawal will be. And for 1 year, and if you can't stick to it, maybe you can't retire yet. Maybe it's not the time for you to retire. I see people, a lot of times they'll take a certain amount, but then they want to renovate the bathroom, or they want to put a pool in the backyard, or, you know, the HVAC goes, and then they have to take a lump sum out. Your budget should include your insurance, everything. And I have a really good budget planner that you can fill out, and it makes you incorporate your annual insurance, your auto insurance, and all that you don't think of when you're actually doing a budget. A lot of people think 4% is a good rate to 4% to withdraw, and that's kind of an average. A safer rate might be 3.5%, but it really depends on when you go into retirement. The biggest things that once you're in retirement that sabotage your plan is really not having a plan for your medical cost. Edward Jones says that you need about $4,500 to $6,500 per person for medical expenses in retirement. And if you incorporate that in your retirement plan, that's a lot of money too. So that's a lot of money to think about to put in your budget. Long-term care, does everybody know what long-term care is? Because it's not, Medicare does not cover long-term care. So that's just health insurance, wellness checkups and, dermatologists and things like that. But you have to lose 2 out of the 5 daily living habits, lose the ability to do that. And that's when long-term care kicks in. So your 5 daily living habits are feeding yourself, dressing yourself, bathing yourself, toileting yourself, and transporting yourself. And if your memory has gotten so bad that you can't remember to eat and dress yourself, you can't remember to change your clothes, that could qualify you for long-term care. In preparing for that, you should either have long-term care insurance or just save enough to take care of those things, because long-term care can be over $90,000 a year in today's standards. And if that's just one of, say, a married couple, the other partner has to sustain and keep living and has expenses too. So not to overwhelm you with these daunting facts, but it takes a lot of money to plan for all these things. One big thing about retirement too is Social Security is a really big factor. I mean, there's a whole seminar on just Social Security. But be very careful. I counsel people on when to start taking their Social Security. Be very careful about how soon you start taking it. Because sometimes it's necessity. If you have to stop working at 62, don't have enough money to sustain, you have to take it at 62. Social Security Administration might tell you to take it at 62, but the way our Social Security is right, because people think that it won't be there for them, our Social Security Administration, the numbers say that will be there till 2034, the way it is right now, unless there's a change. And I think they probably will change things, even if the younger people have to start living longer or reduce the benefits. So 2034, if that is good till then, and then the rates start being reduced by, in 2034, your Social Security benefit could be reduced to 79 cents on a dollar. And then it would last till 2081. So I don't know, there might be some people in this room that'll live past 2081, but I think we're pretty good, but we do need to modify it. It is a really high budget. There are some things that happen right now that probably could save us a lot of money in Social Security. So, one thing you may not know, and you may know too, that Social Security, if you take it at 62, you automatically get a 30% reduction in your payment. That can be a lot of money over your lifetime in retirement. You can also wait till 70, because it doesn't grow after 70, so you want to take it at 70, you don't want to keep it sitting over there in the Social Security Administration, but at 70, you can wait until then, and you get a 32% increase over your full retirement age. So most of the time, if you can wait, full retirement age is the right age to take it. Unless you don't need it, if you keep working, you can wait till 70 to take it and have a 32% increase. That's it on the retirement side. I did want to say, Phil mentioned, talk a little bit about education savings. There's really not time to do that, but I will say I did bring some college savings, 529 college savings brochures out there. You can take one of those, and Edward Jones can do that too. We can start a savings. One thing I will say, I've seen way too many people put a lot of their savings in education plans and not properly save for retirement. So you really have to take care of yourself first. So I hope that's answered a few questions. It might have caused more questions than answers, being as broad as the program's been on. But I would like to open the floor for any questions. If we have a little bit of time, Ed, for questions?